My name is Jason. I've always believed in trust, honesty, and transparency in a relationship. I married my wife Emily 3 years ago. On the surface, everything seemed perfect. We had a beautiful home, shared hobbies, and friends who admired our relationship. But slowly, I started noticing small things, subtle changes that didn't make sense. It started with her phone. She would always keep it close, sometimes taking calls in secret rooms and often deleting messages without reason. I told myself I might be overreacting, that maybe I was just imagining things, but deep inside, a feeling of unease began to grow. I also noticed her attitude changing. She seemed distracted, distant, and often defensive when I asked about her day. The warmth that used to fill our conversations started fading. My friends said I was imagining things, but I couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. One evening, I went to pick up some documents from my office parking lot. The security guard, a man named Mr. Collins, stopped me. He had a concerned look on his face and said, "Jason, I don't usually interfere, but I think you should see this. I caught something unusual on the CCTV footage." At first, I laughed it off. What could possibly be unusual? But Mr. Collins insisted, showing me a tablet with recorded footage. My heart sank as I saw the images. My wife meeting a man in a secluded part of the parking lot late at night, exchanging something that I couldn't identify. My stomach twisted. This was not what I expected to see. I couldn't believe it. I wanted to deny what I saw. Maybe it was a misunderstanding, or maybe the footage was unclear. But the more I watched, the more certain I became. The man she met seemed familiar, and the way Emily interacted with him was intimate, far too intimate for just a friend. I spent the next few days in denial, trying to convince myself that I was overreacting. I avoided confrontation, fearing what I might find out. But the nagging feeling of betrayal only grew stronger. Finally, I decided to confront her. I waited until she came home one evening. My hands were shaking, my heart racing. I showed her the footage. The silence that followed was deafening. Emily avoided my eyes, fidgeting with her hands. I asked her straight, "Who is he? Why are you meeting him secretly?" She stammered, trying to explain, but her excuses didn't make sense. The truth was out, and there was no going back. The days that followed were the hardest I've ever faced. I felt anger, betrayal, sadness, and confusion all at once. I couldn't sleep, I couldn't eat, and I couldn't focus. Every corner of my home reminded me of her presence and the lies that had built up over the years. I reached out to close friends and family seeking advice. They told me to stay calm, gather evidence, and consider my options carefully. I began documenting everything: messages, bank statements, timestamps, anything that could help me understand the full scope of the betrayal. As I dug deeper, I found out Emily had been leading a double life. She had hidden finances, secret trips, and messages from the same man I saw in the footage. It wasn't just a fleeting moment, it was a carefully orchestrated affair that had been going on for months. The realization hit me like a ton of bricks. I had trusted her completely, shared my life and dreams with her, only to discover she had been deceiving me the entire time. I confronted Emily again, armed with all the evidence. She had no choice but to admit the truth. Tears streamed down her face as she confessed, but the damage was done. Trust once broken is nearly impossible to rebuild. I realized that forgiveness might be possible, but forgetting and moving on as if nothing happened was not. After careful thought, I decided to separate temporarily. I needed space to process my emotions and decide the future of our relationship. I moved some personal belongings out, changed passwords, and secured my finances. The security guard, Mr. Collins, became an unexpected ally. He helped me gather additional footage and kept me informed of any suspicious activities. His support reminded me that sometimes help comes from unexpected places. This experience taught me harsh but necessary lessons. Trust your instincts, If something feels off, it probably is. Evidence matters. Always have facts before making decisions. Communication is key. Avoid assumptions, but confront issues when necessary. Self-respect. Protect your emotional and financial well-being first. While my heart is still healing, I've grown stronger and more aware. I focus on personal growth, surrounding myself with supportive people, and learning to trust again cautiously. I also share my story so that others can learn from my experience, because betrayal can happen to anyone, and it's crucial to handle it wisely. This story is not just about betrayal, it's about awareness, courage, and finding strength in the face of emotional turmoil. I hope my experience helps others recognize signs, take action, and prioritize self-respect.